start. Well, when we start talking about front-end development, these days it's not very much easy to write some front-end web app because there is tons of technologies you can use. You can use JavaScript, TypeScript, Dart or Elm, and there are also lots of frameworks. So which technology you should pick from this front-end jungle? Because everyone is saying, I am the best of the best. So today, I want to share you one selection, my favorite selection. It's Dart with AngularDart and Firebase. So let's first start. What is Dart? Dart is a language. It's my favorite language. It's created by Google, and it's used for building the beautiful stuff in the web browsers, servers, command line apps or scripts. I like it very much. And also mobile apps. Yes, you heard it correctly, mobile apps. And about this, the project is called Flutter. It's a very interesting project because you can write application for both Android and iOS with it. And I recommend to take a look at tomorrow's session at 10:10 about Flutter. So let's go back to the web. When I talk about Dart, I always say, well, I love Dart. I'm very productive and happy developer with Dart because when I write a code and run it, it works. It's weird, but it works. And, well, I love it very much. But maybe there's one thing. Maybe you heard, hey, but Dart is dead, isn't it? And when something is dead, then it's dead. So what you will say about this, Jana? So I want to say that Dart is not definitely dead. It's like a living language. It's growing. They have a huge activity on GitHub. And for example, you can see here, this is Sunday night. The Git repository was updated 4 hours ago because there were some issues or something new. So it's pretty much active. And also the language evolves. So very, very early, there will be next version called Dart 2.0. Okay, let's talk about Dart. What is Dart? Dart is a language which is really easy to learn. It's very similar to languages you have already seen, like Java, JavaScript, C#, so you can learn it in a couple of minutes. It used to be optionally typed. It's still in some way optionally typed, but from some point of time, and in the near future, it starts to be statically typed language. Because everyone loves types, so let's use them. It also compiles to JavaScript, which is normal. Everything now compiles to JavaScript, so also Dart. And also, you can be prepared that there's lots of libraries in the SDK available for you to use, so you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, let's learn together a little bit about Dart in a couple of minutes. First, this is a hello world, or hello DevFest Ukraine in Dart. And you can see there's a main function. It's very similar to other languages. There's a lot of curly braces, semicolon, brackets, and so on. Also, we have variables in Dart. We can use either var, but this was more for the optional typing, or we can write type, then the name of the variable equal to some value. What I want to say is that Dart has only one null. There's no reason to have more nothing, so we have only one null and no undefined. Also, the great tools are very mature. There's, for example, Dart Analyzer who helps you during development. So if you do some mistake, it says you, hey, you should not do that. It's wrong. It's incorrect type or something. There are lots of things I really like about this language. For example, cascade operator. This is the dot operator. It's very nice, for example, when you are constructing new object and you want to write some properties and you don't want to put it to make it complicated, you can use the double dot operator. This operator is very nice when you write or you are working with HTML, with DOM, because, for example, when you are styling your DOM element via CSS, then this can be very handy. And also, Dart is very easy to learn, and also like meaningful. It works as you expect. So we have like one normal this. This is a thing you should normally expect, and in Dart, this is normal this. Nothing undefined or window or whatever. Okay, let's talk about Angular with Dart. This is the blue Angular. AngularDart, as you could expect, is Angular plus Dart. That's AngularDart. But why should you care about some blue Angular? Well, you should, because Google is using it. They are very much using it, and there is like billions of dollars going through apps written in AngularDart every year. These apps are AdWords, AdSense, AdMob, and more. There's like millions of lines of code written in Dart at Google, and also the teams reported increased productivity while writing in Dart by 25 to 100%. And I can agree, because when I develop in Dart, I'm very productive. Okay, let's talk about Angular. What's Angular? Why? Well, in Angular, we are creating components. We have like huge components, and components can be divided into many other components. For example, a car. Car is one huge component, and also it can have like more others, like window component, wheel component, light component, and so on. So in Angular, we are writing components. These components should be very simple. They should be easy, short code, because they should be reusable. What Angular or AngularDart solves? Well, AngularDart or Angular solves totally everything on front end. You don't have to care about like where you should hold your data, or how you should do requests, how you should do forms, how you should do routing, because everything is there. There are like, for example, there are also prepared material components for you. You can also use the library for testing. So everything is in that framework included, so you don't have to worry about what you should use. Okay, so we already solved our problem for a front-end app, but great apps need a great backend. But this backend is very much needed, because usually we need to load some data from the server, and this can be quite a lot of implementation, which, for example, for me, because I love to build beautiful stuff in the web browser, is not very much enjoyable stuff. So it's a lot of implementation. We should implement there? We should do like database, sometimes file upload. We should do some authentication, user accounts, maybe anonymous user, OAuth. And then we need to solve where we will host our app. And that's quite a lot of things for a simple app. What we can do with this? Well, I want to show you one thing. It's a service. It's called Firebase. So say hello to Firebase, and I will show you how you can use Firebase for all this stuff, so you don't have to implement this by yourself. Database provides you a lot of services, like real-time database, which is really real-time. So if you post something to the database, then any connected device can see that immediately. I will show it to you. Also, there's like a new version of database, which is called Cloud Firestorm, which is like another database, which is like quite new. It's still in the beta, but I really recommend to take a look. Authentication. So you don't have to worry about how you implement login, registrations, login with Facebook, login with Google, login with Twitter. Everything is there. Storage. You can also use cloud storage with Firebase, like to easily upload your data to the cloud. Also, there is messaging and other stuff, and most importantly, the hosting. We want to deploy our app, so we have Firebase hosting prepared for us, where we can easily, with one command, deploy the app. But okay, that's nice marketing stuff, but Jana, show us some demo. So wish me luck with this, and I will show you a demo which is created in AngularDart and Firebase and compiled so I can use it in any browser. So this is it. It's like kind of nodes board, so like a board of lots of nodes. I can like scroll, and this whole app is written in those technologies I was talking about. What I can do here? Well, first, I want to be able to post a new node. So I will do so after login. So I need to implement a login. Here I will show you login via Google, which is implemented there. So let's try it. So I will click on sign with Google. Hey, that happens during talks. Fun with the internet. So So we are on the internet. So again, let's try the Google login. It's doing the stuff. Hey. And we are logged in. Awesome. So we are logged in. As you can see, I'm logged in. You can see here, there my photo, my full name, the email, and also the sign out button. Sign out works, so you can sign out. But what I can also do, I can delete some nodes, and I can also post one node or more. So I'll show you how. So let's create like hello from DevFest Ukraine. Let's put their image. Like that AngularDart in Firebase is nice. So now you could see how I uploaded the image. It was like very fast when I have internet. And then, nice. Then I will add this node. As you could see, it was very fast. It's immediately there. And this is because it's like real-time database. Can I delete my nodes? Well, you may, but not all, please. So, well, as I said, it's real-time. You can see it's working very fast. But what I want to also show you is that I will do this with my phone. So, again, I will open the app here on my phone. I will write some node from mobile. And also, I will attach image. From a camera, and let's do like a selfie together. So I have it. So, and now I will upload this. So add, and it's immediately there. So that's Firebase. Like I really like the real-time database because, as you could see, it works very fast. It's immediately there. You can also store data. It doesn't have to be image. It can be anything. It can be a PDF, any text file. You can use. So that's it. So that's for the demo. That's nice. The demo is available at GitHub. I will show you then. But let's go back to slides. And I will show you how this is implemented, because it's very easy, as I said. I'm not a backend developer, I don't like backends, so I will show you how you can do this too, quite easily. Well, we are in Dart, the AngularDart. AngularDart, in Dart, there's a package called Angular, and also for a Firebase, there's a package called Firebase. The Firebase package is some kind of like interrupt stuff around JS implementation, like around JavaScript implementation. And there is also a wrapper around to have like much nicer Dart API, and I will show you how you can implement this too. Let's start with the Angular. So first, like every app has some index HTML file. So you can see normal index HTML file like head, body, and so on. I'm also loading there Firebase JS because, as I said, it's interop. And what we can see there is the my app element. Well, probably you know that there is no my app element in HTML, so this is something else. And the else means Angular. So let's take a look on how this element is created. So my app element is some kind of element which is a class. This is the Dart file. It's a class app component which is an annotation with a selector my app. And this component also have a template app component HTML because we want to draw something in the component, so it has HTML template. And also there is some stuff called directives and more. In directives, we usually register other components this component uses. So let's take a look at the HTML file of this main component. Well, this main component has some div, and again, there is some more element we don't know from HTML, but it's called layout header. Then there is also some new nodes, and layout footer. And as you would expect, these are all components created via Angular. So let's take a look at nodes. Nodes, again, it's a component, so it's a class with a special annotation, component, and selector nodes. It has also a template, because we need to be able to draw those nodes into the HTML. Also, it has some directives. This means that I will be able to use some special things in my component to do, for example, conditions, for cycles, and so on. This is why there is core directives. And also because it's nodes component, so it should store nodes. So I have a list, which is in Dart array. So I have like array of nodes in my component. Okay, so this component should draw all nodes. So how we should do this? Well, in template. So let's take a look at the template. Template nodes component HTML is some kind of div with ID nodes, and then there is like a special thing like asterisk ng4, asterisk ngIf, and so on. And these are those directives created by Angular, which help me to drive what's painted in the template. So here you can see something like for cycle, where we cycle through all nodes, and for every node we ask if the title is not empty, just put there the title. This is interpolation, the double brackets, this interpolation. And also put there node text. I'm asking about the condition is not empty because like the title is not mandatory in the app, so sometimes I don't have it there. And also you can see there's special operator, which is some kind of safety operator, because title can be null, so I want to only ask about is not empty on something which is not null to prevent errors. So this is how we draw the nodes in the template. It's very easy. Okay, this is a good theory. This is still Angular, but we need to have the data. We need to load those nodes from somewhere. And as you can see, it was totally possible. I did this with Firebase, so I'll show you how you can do that. First, I will show you sign in with Google, then how you can read from the database, post to the database, and how you can upload the storage, for example, the image. So, first, let's do a Google login. It's very easy. First, you want to use the library, so you need to put their import in that Dart file. And then you can create a new object of Google Out Provider. And then you only need to call out, which is some kind of global authentication Firebase object. Then you can call their method sign in with pop-up, where you put that provider. This will do that window for you. You don't have to care about anything. It's prepared for you. So you just only fill there usually some email and the password. Then the sign-in is great. The sign-in is successful if it's correct. Also, I'm trying catching some stuff because there could be problem with the password or something. So I'll do something there. Also, you can see there like a special Dart keyword. It's await. Because, as you could expect, the sign-in with Google is totally asynchronous. We never know when it finishes, so we are waiting for the result there. This is like very nice thing in Dart, that we can use this async await for asynchronous stuff. Well, that's not all for out in Firebase. There's much more. We can call methods for registrations, or there are more methods for example, if we want to have anonymous users, so we can sign in anonymously, or we can sign in with email and password, which is the most common. Everything is there. You don't have to care about, because it's very easy to implement something like this. Second, let's take a look at database. If we want to post some data to the database, we need to first start how we structure the data in the database. Firebase real-time database is using JSON to store the data. So we have to think about how we are able to store our nodes into the JSON. So let's say we'll have a nodes like key there, and every node, it has like a key. It's automatically generated by Firebase, and then the node will have the image URL, text, title, and can have some more information, but this is like for our app. And there below can be more and more nodes. So as you can see, it's something like JSON, and this JSON is stored in the Firebase real-time database, and those nodes will be loaded in the app. How we can do this with Firebase? Again, it's very easy. So first, we need to get some reference. We need to get the path to the nodes. Well, in JSON, it's nodes. So first what I will do, I will call, again, I have a global database object there. So I will call database, and then I will get the path through ref. So I'll get the reference to the nodes, which retrieves me some database reference. And then I will start listening on that a reference for some events. Here, I will listen to event new node is added, which is in fact officially in Firebase on-child edit. So when new thing, the node will be posted to Firebase, the on-child edit event happens, and that time I can listen, or I'm listening to this, and if this happens, I will retrieve the snapshot of the data, which I will get in the event. Then I will convert them to some more Darty value. Then I can build the new node, like instance of the class node. And let's say we are storing these nodes into some array, which is called nodes. It's above. And I will insert this node at the beginning of this array. And that's all for reading from the database. Well, there's more events we can read, or we can listen to, like if the new child is removed, if it's moved, like the position changes, or if it's changed, or we can listen to the whole path, like the on value. It's prepared for you there, you can use it, and it's very easy to use like this. Okay, then we want to do sending new nodes to the database. How we can do this? Again, we need to have the reference to the nodes. So we will call database ref to the nodes, which will retrieve us database reference. And then we want to be able to push their new data. So there is a method which is called push. And it's asynchronous, so we will await for that. So we will call database ref, push, and the object of the node. And then we will await for that, and it will be pushed to the database. And that's all for sending data to database. Quite easy. Okay, let's take a look at the last thing. It's like sending any files. For example, here the images to the database. For storage, we have the store global object, so we can call storage. Then again, reference. Let's say we will have a nodes path there. For our file, so we will retrieve nodes, which is a storage reference, and then in some point of the time we will get the file object of that image, and we will call storage reference child with the name of the file, then post it there, and await for this. This will upload the data to database storage, the Firebase storage. It will retrieve you upload task snapshot. It's again totally asynchronous, so we have to await for the value. And when it's uploaded, we will get the image, or we will get the snapshot of that data uploaded to Firebase, and we can retrieve the URL to the image to be able to show it. And that's it. That's all for the Firebase. That was easy. I didn't have to implement this by myself. I could use it. It was like a couple of lines of code, nothing very difficult. It was so easy. But now maybe you're asking how you should connect these two parts. You have seen some AngularDart code. Now you have a Firebase code, where you should put loading or storing or a login with Google to Firebase, where you should put it to the app. Well, as I said, AngularDart or Angular applications are created from components. So, should you put the like listening to Firebase or saving to Firebase to the component? Which component? Because like we want to have it available in all those components. So the main component? Well, that's not a very good idea, because as I said, components should be very easy. They should be like a couple of lines of code. They should only, in fact, like show the template, send some data to the template, and communicate with the template. But in fact, they should not do the request. So we'll create a thing which is called service, which is another class. It's some name. Usually we'll use some name, service. So here we have a class Firebase service, and this service has to have an annotation. In this time, it's injectable, because how it works in Angular, if you want to use some service, we never do an instance of that service by ourselves, because it's created by Angular. So we need to register this service, and we need to also say that it's injectable, so Angular knows that this service is injectable. And there's like one component which is called dependency injector, which is a component. If some like Angular component asks for some service, then this dependency injector takes a look at inside if it already stores a service. If it does, it reads the service. If it doesn't, it creates a new instance and stores it for later use. So we will implement our Firebase service. We will put all those calling to Firebase there into this class Firebase service. And we will also store there the array of nodes, because we need to be able to retrieve it via our component. Okay, to be able to use the service, we need to register that service. Because as I said, we never create an instance of the service by ourselves, but we need to register that for the dependency injector. We do this in the component, in the providers section. So here in providers, we put there that we are registering the Firebase service. Well, it depends, because usually the service should be registered only once in the topmost component. So here we are registering this in app component, and all components which are like childs of this component will be available, will be able to use this service. So let's go back to our nodes component. This nodes component needs to get the list of nodes. Well, and I said we have a service for it, which stores all the methods for calling Firebase. But we need to use this Firebase service in our nodes component. We already registered this in the uppermost, the app component. And because nodes component is a child of the app component, it can use the service. So how we can use it, or how we can put it to this class? Well, we put there constructor, nodes component, and there we will say that this service will be stored inside of this nodes component class. And then, if we need it, we can call any method to communicate with the Firebase from the service. Like for example here, we need to load the nodes. When we will load the nodes, well, we might load them in constructor of this class, but that's not very nice. From architectural point of view, it's not very nice to do such stuff in constructor. So there is like a possibility in Angular, because every component has a life cycle of components. So there's like a method called ngOnInt, which we can override. And this method is called like very fast and like right from the start. when the component is created. So here we will do the request to the server, to the Firebase. So I will say that my nodes, like this, which is the attribute of this nodes component, and these nodes are then like cycled through the templates and then drawn, like every node is drawn there. So these nodes will be equal to the service nodes, because service is the Firebase service, and that stores all the actual nodes. So every time there is like a new node in the nodes, in the service, this node also appears in the template because it was there. Okay, and then the template for the nodes company is totally same. Again, for repeat, you can see there ng4. So when now I will like repeat I will go through all nodes, and for every node I will draw some title, text, and image. And that's it. That was all about this app. It was not difficult. If you want to take a look, you can take a look at my GitHub, Firebase demo ng is there. The code is available, so you can take a look at that. Or you can try the app, which you already did. Thank you very much for this. And also, if you're interested more in AngularDart and Firebase, you can check the code lab from Google I/O, which I helped to create. But I promised you one thing. I promised you I will also teach you how you're able also to create your own library, which can interrupt with some JavaScript code. Because like I was writing the Firebase interrupt library for Dart, and sometimes I had like some tears because, well, I was solving some problems there. So I'll show you what I was solving and how I solved this. So what we want to do, we have a JavaScript library, JavaScript API, and we want to be able to use that API in Dart. How we can use this? Well, Dart has a library for it called package.js, which we can use. And let's say this is our API. This is the screenshot from the official Firebase app module with class app. This class has some properties like name, options, and so on. Then it also has methods like auth, database, delete, and so on. And I will show you how you can port this to Dart. So, as I said, there is a library called package.js, which I can use. So I will have to like write classes with special annotations, which are like having those methods and properties from their like JavaScript implementation. And I'm starting with the module. So I'm creating Dart library with the annotation Firebase app because I'm referencing the module Firebase app from JavaScript. And then I also want to write the class. So I will write app.js implementation because I realized that I need to also write a wrapper around. So it's called app.js implementation. And this references to the app class from JavaScript. And you can see there, name, options, auth method, database methods, and so on. Let's take a look at database. As you can see, database is like returning some database.js implementation file, or not file, but instance, which is another class. Again, it's in its module, Firebase database. It has annotation, JS database, because it's referencing the database class from the JavaScript. Okay, that's maybe like enough what you wanted, but also you are now maybe asking that it's like a lot of work, but you need to go manually through the API of that library, you want to write interrupt, and if there is like a way how you can do it automatically or how to not write it manually, well, there might be some way. If you have a TypeScript definition file, type definition file, you can generate this whole interrupt cascade or facade. It's called JS facade Jana library, which you can use, and then you don't have to manually write this stuff. Well, this is, if you want to use it, maybe enough, but I was going further because I knew that there is like lots of disadvantages this because I wanted to have their really native Dart objects. So this is the reason why I had to write like a wrapper around this JS interrupt. And I was fighting there with a couple of stuff. First thing was types. Because in Dart, we are not using promises, we have our own futures. So mostly I had to convert promises to futures. How I did this, or how you want to use it. In Dart, you want to easily, because we want to use future, so then we can call childref remove with the await keyword. But to be able to do so, I had to write the wrapper method for this, which looked like this. Future remove, and this returns. Again, you can see the fed arrow. This is like a syntactic sugar in Dart for returning stuff when we have a method which only returns stuff. And there is like some magic, but you can see that there is like a JS object remove, because my every class in this wrapper holds a reference to JS object, and I'm the JavaScript object, and I'm always calling the appropriate method on the JavaScript object, which is the remove here. But the JS object remove returns some kind of promise, which is called tenable in Firebase documentation. And because in Dart we want to use futures, there has to be some magic. And this is the reason why there is the handle tenable function, which imagine is a function which converts this tenable to future. Nice. Another thing, if you want to pass some Dart function to the JavaScript, you have to wrap it with allow interrupt, because they are not compatible. So I did this for you in the library, so you don't have to do that. So you can use any Dart function, and it's allow interrupt for you. So again, here is like a sample from the library, where it's like I'm like calling allow interrupt on some function. You put there, and then this wrapped function is passed as a parameter to the JS object for each method. And the last thing I had to solve, which was like the most difficult for me, was conversion of Dart map object to JavaScript, JavaScript object, because they are not very much compatible. So if we start talking about types, if you have null, num, bool, string, those types are okay, because they, or any number, these types are okay. They can convert quite easily. String in Dart, JavaScript string, Dart string, easily convertible. But with Dart map and JavaScript object, it's complicated. So how you should do this? First, we tried a solution through JSON. Well, okay, let's take a Dart map, convert it to JSON string, and then do some interrupt stuff to call like a JavaScript method to parse this string and retrieve JavaScript object. This worked quite nicely for some time, until I had to implement reCAPTCHA stuff, which takes like a map with keys, which can have values also as a functions. And because JSON can't have functions, then this was problematic for me, and we had to find another solution. Fortunately, there is a solution that there is like a method for it in the JSUtil Dart library, which is part of the package.js. So there is a method how to convert the Dart map object to the JavaScript object, which is like then prepared for you. So in this talk, I really wanted to show you how can you like quite easily build very nice app using AngularDart and Firebase, and that they can be very great partners together. I also wanted to show you how you can use AngularDart for productivity, performance, and stability, how you can use Firebase for implementing backend without implementing backend, and that you are also able to port any JavaScript library to Dart. So thank you very much.